Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about sexual liberation and why although this revolution, this act is packaged and sold as something that is empowering, progressive, and like this savior for women, it absolutely isn't. It's something that isn't liberating women, it is enslaving them. It's pretty evident that this world has absolutely distorted natural gifts and natural processes that were meant to fulfill a certain purpose in this world. For example, the human body. The human body is one of the most sacred things in this world because of the simple fact that it is irreplaceable. You will never be able to replace your body. Of course, you could go through like cosmetic procedures or things that alter your body, but your body will always be your body. You could do things that can change your physical appearance, but you will never be able to change your actual beingness. And this is important because, like I said, you only get one body. There's a reason why your body isn't irreplaceable. It is yours, which means it is designated onto you, which means you have to treat it as such. It's very unfortunate that we live in a world that has perverse something as sacred, something as natural and organic as the human body. And the main way we have perversified our bodies is through the way we have regarded, through the way we talk about it, we write songs about it, through how we show it by wearing inappropriate clothing that demeans and degrades it, and so much more. We live in a world that no longer emphasizes how precious the human body is. It now treats it as a commodity, something that we could just throw on a price on and sell it or exchange it. And the worst part of this is that usually people that purposely treat their bodies in degrading ways are doing it in the name of empowerment, in the name of self liberation, in the way of taking full agency of their body and taking back their power from a hidden oppressive force. They're ultimately tarnishing their bodies in the name of freedom, which is so twisted because there's nothing empowering about putting your body in harm's way. Now, showing your full body on Instagram or fornicating with 10 people in a day is seen as this glorified act, is seen as something that we should praise and we should look up to. People don't realize when you fornicate with a bunch of men, or when you are dressed in a degrading way, or when you act in any perverse manner that disrespects your body. It actively destroys you. It eats you from the inside out. Not only does it damage you physically, but also mentally and spiritually. Sex is way more than just a physical bonding between two people. You are actively interchanging souls with one another. You are bonding with someone way more than on an emotional level. And this is why it is imperative to only participate in this act with someone that you truly care about and not someone that you've talked to for less than a week or someone that you know isn't going to stay with you in the next 2 months. And yes, this video is targeted to women more than men because media that usually glorifies being perverse and sleeping with a bunch of people and dressing in obnoxious and tacky fashion are usually targeted more to women than to men. And it's evident that women fall victim more to this mindset than men do. Like I mentioned before, I think this is the reason because women are taught that there's this hidden oppressive agenda that is actively trying to take away their privileges. And it's usually privileges that are related to their bodies. And thus, the media indoctrinates women to make them believe that they have to participate in these acts of rebellion in order to take back their power, in order to take full agency of their body and their livelihood. And this mindset, this belief is simply not true. It is false. Now, this doesn't mean that there isn't oppressive forces that prey on certain freedoms that people possess. But I don't believe that acting in a perverse or a rebellious manner is going to lessen the impact or the perceived impact that some of these oppressive forces have. Simply because sleeping with a bunch of people or dressing in inappropriate ways isn't going to change the law. And this is what makes me believe that most women that are participating in these acts aren't really doing it in the name of self liberation. Saying they're doing it in the self liberation is merely like a cover up for what they're doing. And when you speak about these issues, a lot of women will reply or comment, well, it's my body, my choice. I could do whatever I want with it. Because for some reason, doing whatever you want with something is justifiable as long as it's yours. It doesn't matter how sinister, brash, or rude this act is or this action is. It doesn't matter if I'm not only hurting myself but the people around me. I can do whatever I want with it because it's mine. It's mine. And I don't even know why I have to explain why this mindset is extremely disturbing and irrational. But to sum it up, dignity and respect, not only for yourself, but the people around you. You are not the only person in this world, unfortunately. And yes, what you do with your body does both directly and indirectly impacts the world around you. When you engage and encourage acts that perverses your body, it sets a certain standard that this way of living is okay. And this is the reason why it's so normalized because most women, also men too, but for the sake of this video, I'm talking to women. Most women has adopted this mindset that because it's their bodies, they could do whatever they want with it. Which is why now you can't even question these people without getting insane backlash. Not only other young adults are watching your actions, but also adolescent teens, especially adolescent teen girls. It's evident that there's no longer any safe spaces or spaces made for kids on the internet. And now it's just being replaced with TikTok, Instagram, and whatever social medias that usually young adults are on. And because of this, adolescent girls are no longer interested in activities made for children. They are now overly exposed to what young adults are doing. And a lot of things, I will say the vast majority of content on social media, especially TikTok, is a little bit sexualized. Sometimes it's even hypersexualized. And because this level of hypersexuality is now normalized, where people think it's just okay to walk half naked on the street, a lot of young adolescent teen girls are watching this content and thinking it's normal, and of course they're going to emulate the things they see, maybe not in a grand amount, but even adopting the mindset that hypersexualizing yourself is normal is emulating what they see. And going back to my first point, yeah, it is your body, and of course you could do whatever you want with your body, but that doesn't mean that what you are choosing is progressive and constructive. I'm going to be redundant because this is important, but when you sleep with a bunch of people, actually, it doesn't even have to be a bunch of people. If you even sleep with one person that you don't really care about, it's more of like a hookup, it's someone that you don't have a close relationship to, you are actively destroying your body. You are allowing it to be contaminated. That's a simple explanation of it. You are literally allowing your body to be contaminated. And this is important for people to know because fornication, it's a one and done thing. Once you do it with someone, you can never take that moment back. And do you know how like you could go on the internet and find like a lot of women that just generally like resent men, like they don't like men at all? I think this is one of the reasons because they've given their body to men that don't care about them. Usually they know that they don't care about these men, don't care about them, but in the name of self-liberation, in the name of doing whatever they want with their body, they sleep with these men. And then once they realize that they just they just contaminated their body with this random stranger, then they start to feel really regretful of their actions. And instead of self reflecting and saying, wait, why did I allow myself to purposely inflict harm to my body? They then project that feeling onto men and start to resent men entirely. I also think this is another reason why women usually sleep with a lot of men after this because they're trying to claim something that they will never get back, which is their dignity. This is another reason why I feel like a lot of women has adopted this mindset that if they sleep with a lot of men, or if they sleep with men, they are the ones that are playing these guys, not the guys playing them. They are the dominant one. They are the one in control. And oh, men are so easy. I could get a man whatever time I want. I could sleep with a guy whatever I want. They're so easy. I could manipulate them and do whatever I want with them. And I know deep in their hearts they know it's not true because it's the other way around. These men are, in fact, playing them. And they don't want to admit it because usually people that have this mindset are too far gone. They contaminated their body to a point where um, they can't redeem themselves. And like I said before, once you do it with someone that you don't care about, your body has already been contaminated. That is the harsh truth that most girls don't want to acknowledge because it is regretful. Ultimately they usually feel shame. They do feel shame for these acts. And I mean, who wouldn't? If you have intentionally contaminated your body, why wouldn't you feel a little bit of shame about it? And of course, I believe that is a very sad situation to be in. I am not making any sort of like light-hearted commentary about it. I'm not trying to make it into a joke. Actually, it's very sick and sad to be in that state. But this is the reason why I'm talking about it, because the only way not to be in those situations is to take preventive measures, such as not fornicating with people that you don't care about, and to not subscribe to this idea, to this ideology that just throwing yourself out there with any guy is self-liberating, is empowering, because it is absolutely not. There's nothing empowering about harming your body and contaminating it. Another thing I want to talk about, so I can acknowledge that there are some men out there that aren't the best, that play with girls' feelings and cheat and blah 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 blah, right? But on the other hand, I can acknowledge that there are men out there that are providers, that are good people. Of course, I don't know every man in the world, but like, it's common sense. There's always going to be good and bad when it comes to anything. But usually the women that are always complaining about men being cheaters, I believe that these are the women that aren't the best themselves. These are the women that are perverse and lust driven. And when I say lust driven, I'm not just talking about, that the literal meaning of being lustful, but I'm also talking about the fact that these women usually have a lust for attention. And I do believe this because I did a little I wouldn't say research, but I did a little game with myself. And on TikTok you'll get like these random like women complaining about men. Every time I go on their profile or like to see what their content is, it's just it's not up to standard to get a loyal guy. Um, and then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I see why you're complaining about these men, because you are the type of woman to attract these type of men. And like I said, I'm not saying this in a way to mock these women. Of course not. I love women. Obviously, I'm not a sorry to cut it off, but a lot of women I think they deem other girls that speak about them like this as woman haters. And if I was a woman hater, I would encourage you to sleep with thousands of men and to perverse your body. That's a real woman hater. A woman lover will tell you, don't do that. You are making a mockery of yourself and you are destroying your body. That is what a woman lover would say. But anyway, so for my other point, yeah. So if by nature, by just the rule of this earth, if you attract what you are. So if you are a woman that's perverse, that acts in this like brash and tacky way, you don't carry yourself with a little bit of class, then you will attract men that are losers, that are cheaters, that only wants to sleep with you for the first night and then bye bye, block you the night after. And this is because men like that like dishonest women. They like perverse women. They like women that throw their bodies on the internet. They like women that they could lust with, that they could toy around with. These are what these type of men are attracted to. If you want a man that is loyal, you also have to be loyal. You can't just put yourself on the internet um fully like nude. You can't talk in a brash manner. If you want a good man, you have to be a good woman. That's literally how it is. And I believe that women are definitely not hold more accountable than men because like I said before, we live in a world that believes that there's this hidden oppressive agenda that is actively trying to take power against women. And because of that, we cannot hold women accountable anymore because we too will be treated as an oppressive force. Which is so beyond me because um yes, we should hold women accountable just like we should hold men accountable, just like how we should hold anyone accountable. If you act in a degenerative way, you should be held accountable for. That's just how it should be. That is fair. It is not fair for a woman to do something and not to be held on the same regard as a man doing this thing. That is just ludicrous. That it makes no sense. Oh, also, I want to touch on a point like I said before. So, usually when women speak out on things like this, they are deemed as like that oppressive force. They're deemed as someone that is like a woman hater, right? And I just like let's just debunk this, right? So, I'll give you examples. So, if there was a mother and the mother saw a child, right, and the child was touching a stove, and the stove is on, so the child could potentially get burnt. Now, what do you think, what do you really believe that a good mother would just let her son touch the stove? Because it is his body. He could do whatever he wants with his body. As a mother, I don't want to tell my son not touch the stove. That's his body. He could do whatever he wants. No, a actual mother wouldn't do that. If she did and then told her friend that she did that, guess what? The friend will most likely call CPS on her because as a mother or just anyone that has a brain cell in this world, if someone is doing wrong and you genuinely care about them, you will tell them, "Stop. Don't do that. That is not good for you." That is what a person that cares about you will do. So, as someone that genuinely cares for women's well being, I'm going to say, guys, don't sleep with thousands of people. Don't do that. Preserve your body. Because if you don't, you will deeply regret it. Of course, I know there's women that believe these things too, but I think they're usually too scared to talk about it. You shouldn't be. Because another reason why I feel like this ideology is being adapted so fast is because there's a lack of motherly figures. Or when I say motherly, I mean nurturing. I don't mean a literal mother because you don't have to have a child to be motherly, but I mean like being a nurturer, like caring for someone. I'm just using that term as of motherly. But yeah, there's a lack of women that generally will care about someone else and tell them right from wrong. And yeah, I believe we need more not only motherly figures, but people in general that generally cares about society and just people's health, and to tell them what's right and wrong. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the spiritual aspect of having a clean body. So I believe that we are on this earth to re-experience divinity. I talked about this before. What do I mean by re-experience divinity? I simply mean to be in touch with God, to raise the vibration of our consciousness and to communicate with God. Now, I don't use God a lot in these videos because I don't want you guys to mistake what I'm saying to like a religious doctrine, because I'm not talking about religion, I'm talking about spirituality, which is very different. But yeah, so the only way you can communicate with divinity is through your body, your beingness, your essence, which is why you want to have a clean temple, you want to have a clean body. And the more your body is clean, not only your body but your mind, the more you have a clean conscious, your spirit is clean, you're mentally clean, you'll be able to connect with divinity. And that just means being more aligned to your true nature and to shut off belief systems that no longer serve you. So that's what I mean. And by doing so, you have to have a body that is clean. But guys, I really enjoyed today's video. I wanted to speak about this topic for so long. I just didn't know how I would articulate the things I want to say. But yeah, guys, I feel like I would have a lot of comments for this video because this is like a controversial topic. But guys, if you have anything to say, I would love to respond and to discourse with you in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please let me know. I hope everyone has a beautiful and fulfilling day today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. See you guys.